In a quiet temple nestled in the misty mountains of ancient Japan lived a Zen master. He was known not for grand temples or dazzling lectures, but for his quiet presence, his deep wisdom that needed no words. One morning, a man arrived at the monastery, elegantly dressed, with sharp eyes and a proud posture. He was a professor, famous in many circles for his knowledge in philosophy, science, and religion. "I've heard you are wise," the professor said. "I've come a long way to learn from you. Please teach me what you know about Zen." The master smiled softly and said, "Would you like to have some tea first?" The professor nodded with a polite smile, though inside he was slightly impatient. He had expected deep words, not tea. As they sat across from each other, the master moved with graceful calm. He picked up a small porcelain teapot, old and worn, but beautiful. Slowly, he began pouring tea into the professor's cup. The steam rose, fragrant and soft. The professor watched silently as the tea reached the rim. But the master did not stop. The tea began to overflow onto the table, dripping into the man's lap. "Stop! What are you doing?" the professor cried. "The cup is full. No more can go in." The master calmly placed the teapot down. Then, in a voice as gentle as wind through bamboo, he said, "Exactly. Like this cup, you are full. Full of opinions, assumptions, pride, and knowledge. You've come to me seeking wisdom. But how can I offer you anything when your cup is already overflowing?" Anis. The professor froze. His mind raced. He had come to receive, but he had brought no space for receiving. He realized he had come not as a student, but as someone who thought he already knew. And in that realization, his pride cracked, just a little. The room fell into silence. Only the sound of the wind and a single drop of tea falling to the floor. The professor lowered his head. For the first time in a long while, he felt small, not in shame, but in humility. I see," he whispered. The master did not lecture. He did not explain further. That single act, the overflowing cup, was the teaching. From that day on, the professor returned, no longer as a man of titles, but as a man ready to listen. He swept the floors, drank tea, and learned through silence, breath, and presence. And slowly, his cup began to empty and fill again, this time with wisdom. This simple story has lived through centuries because it holds a deep truth. We often come into life thinking we know. We carry beliefs, labels, pride, ego, and we think we're ready to learn. But learning begins not with the mind, but with the emptying. The cup must be emptied before it can be filled. In our world full of noise, opinions, and shouting voices, silence is rare, and humility even rarer. Yet it is in quietness, in openness, that we finally receive. Ask yourself, is my cup full, or am I truly ready to learn?